Hello everyone, I'm Adam Papagan. Welcome to another episode of There's a Place, the ASMR talk show. The quiet talk show that feels good to hear, both the subject matter and the actual physical sounds, the quiet sounds. It's an ASMR talk show. We have a lot of musicians on this show. I'm a big music fan. Been collecting records for a long time, and I've been in my 12 or so years of LP collecting. I've had a good time, but I've seen the hobby go through some ups and downs. So when I started collecting records, imagine a time 10 to 12 years ago when vinyl records were worth nothing. They would be $3 for $1, $4 for $1 sometimes. Once I went to Amoeba Records and they had a sign that said free LPs. They're giving away boxes of good albums that I'm sure today would be worth $15, $20. Just giving them away. They're worth nothing because iPods were coming out and you could just have all your music digitized and with you at all times. So it was really a revolutionary thing. So all the record stores started going out of business. Aaron's Records, Downtown, Rhino Records, a lot of good ones. And people weren't really that upset when it was happening because of the stereotype of record store employees. They were known as being kind of smug, arrogant. They would belittle your choices. Nobody liked the record store guy experience. So when the record stores started going away, nobody really minded. Well, vinyl records continue to be produced. They're more popular than ever. They're outselling CDs, outselling downloads. And now you can't throw a rock in certain neighborhoods without hitting a record store. That's been a really good thing for collecting. But unfortunately, we've reached that arrogance peak again. I'll tell you what I mean. I was in a record store. I'm going to tell you the name is Mono Records in Echo Park. And I'm going through it, and I go to the new arrivals section. And I start flipping through it, and the guy behind the counter goes, "There's nothing good here. Don't even bother looking." So yeah, I can understand. I'm buying a Monkees record, and I take it up, and the guy kind of laughs because that's not serious music. But the clerk at the store literally told me not to shop there, and it kind of seemed like he was getting fired and he was trying to turn me away, but it was a very weird experience. So I think if it keeps going this way with the record collecting, we're going to be right back to where we were 10 years ago where they all go out of business. But hey, more good records for me. Also, check out Spotify. Free. It's all just free on the internet. Don't waste your time going to record stores. Those people need to get real jobs. My guest tonight is a comedian. You can see him at the Hollywood Improv. He's working the door, but he's still there. At the start, please welcome my guest, Scott Kidd. Hey Scott, how you doing?
Good. It's good.
Thanks
nice
for being
to be here.
Yeah. So we don't do a lot of. We try to stay away from topical stuff on the show, but I gotta ask: did you vote yesterday?
No.
Okay. A lot of people didn't. Why? You have a smile. You're proud not to vote.
No, I just think it's ridiculous. I think the whole election is ridiculous. I just want to interject for a moment. I work at the Improv, but I'm not just a door guy.
Yeah, I know you're a comedian too.
Well, I'm also adorable, but yeah.
He's an adorable guy.
Yeah, thanks. I also serve mostly now, just because I need to make money because comedy's fucking shit most of the time. But anyway, back to what you were asking. The election. There's a lot of bullshit. There's a lot of. I'm sorry if I'm cursing too much.
Oh, that's fine. There's really no too much cursing.
Okay.
But you find a way to. That's how you express yourself.
Yeah, definitely. I try and stay as ignorant as possible in my dialect. But anyway.
Yeah, and then it carries over. So no voting at all, and proud to not vote.
Well, I feel a little mischievous about it. Mischievous, if you will. But I voted before, and I voted before that, I just don't think that Bernie seems like a guy who is just putting on a clown face or something, you know, like I feel like he's the guy who goes and takes selfies like during political, you know, moments in history. He's the guy who's like, hey, look, I'm participating.
He's the Bill Murray of politics.
What do you mean by that? I actually respect Bill Murray.
You don't respect Bernie Sanders?
No.
He's a senator.
Still. I'm sorry.
Like,
well, I mean, that's Hillary Clinton was very involved with Walmart, you know, which is based out of Arkansas, so that kind of like makes a lot of sense, one and one. But it doesn't mean I really like her or care for her or agree with her.
You don't respect her though?
No.
Do you respect Donald Trump?
I kind of do.
Yeah.
I kind of do, but I don't agree with his tactics.
Oh no, don't support the politics at all. But the way he presents his arguments, I'm kind of a fan of. Just says what's on his mind.
It's like if Garfield had like irritable bowel syndrome. That's how I look at Trump, you know, because like he says, like you say, what's on his mind, but he kind of doesn't really care for anybody else around him. Mm-hmm. You know, it's really just give me mine, and you know, so be it. But at the same time, I think that attitude has given him enough experience to know what a defined goal is and how to like really achieve such. Because I mean, all these other guys are being bought out, but he's like he has like $4 billion in his, you know, net worth or whatever.
So you respect him because he's rich?
No, I respect him because he's successful.
Okay.
What he does. Like Hillary Clinton seems more like a bandwagoner, but I mean, who's to say that fucking Trump's not that either? And Bernie, I just feel like he's given us just as many false promises as any other politician would. You know, like, well, in my mind, what's the point of raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour? What happens if you already make $15 an hour? Are you going to just sit around and be like, well, I guess I make minimum wage now? Or are you going to be kind of pissed off that you're not making more money? And it's just going to continue like that, and upward like hostility towards business. So it's going to tumble on itself or crumble on itself, because who's going to want to, like, you know, pay more and work harder just so these people are making more, because things cost more, which they will in turn cost more in the long run even so. So why is that a good thing? He thinks he's like, you know, meeting the masses, but he's basically just calling us a bunch of peasants who work for minimum wage. Oh yeah, let's vote for this guy.
But aren't you just said that you're working more because you don't have enough money and it's hard to make ends meet.
Right, but
don't you wish that you had more money?
Okay, here's the deal though. But money's earned. Money's earned, and respect is earned, unfortunately. And I don't think that pushing a certain like limit is going to change anything, because there's still backlash. There's still like, it's kind of like physics or whatever. Like as soon as you do something, something else is going to happen to equal it out. You know, how can you have a whole bunch of people on Social Security if you don't have people paying into that in the first place? You know, where's that money coming from? Is it just debt that we incur over and over, like everything else, like the military? And if so, who's paying for that debt? So we can't just keep asking for more if we're not doing more. And that's one thing that I agree with Trump. I'm trying to like turn it all full circle, but Trump actually is like saying he wants us to manufacture things again. He wants America to make money again. And it's already been established that Hillary Clinton's selling us to China and making them create all of our merchandise, and then somehow we still should buy all this merchandise when we should just be exporting shit nonstop and making them buy it. But at the same time, it's all one big fuck all, because we don't need to purchase a bunch of oil that's been converted into tennis shoes and freaking baby dolls and lollipops. I mean, I'm not eating lollipops made out of oil, but I'm sorry, I'm ranting now, but still, it's just fucked. I don't want to vote.
What about how Trump, when he gives speeches, he has babes standing behind him?
That's great.
That's probably, I think, what you were trying to say.
I mean, sure.
Trump has babes. He has a blonde babe and he has a brunette babe.
He could have Warrant's Cherry Pie playing when he steps onto the pulpit or whatever you want to call it, podium. I don't care. I don't care. Have you seen? I mean, I don't know if I can even ask this, but there's a movie that was made about this guy who went into the future, and everybody was dumb.
Idiocracy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they've been foreshadowing this for a while.
Yes.
There's that Robin Williams movie where it's called Man of the Year, where he plays Jon Stewart and he runs for president.
Oh, okay.
And it was bombed. But there's that. There's even the Manchurian Candidate.
Okay. The original?
Yeah. It's about, this fake candidate that the powers that be are running. And
oh, yeah. Even Head of State with Chris Rock.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they've been kind of they've been prepping us for this for a while. TV star becoming president. We've Arnold Schwarzenegger's been governor. Jesse Ventura. That's two tough guys from the media. Ronald Reagan. Yeah, no, it's. I think it's time. Did you ever eat at Okie Dog on Fairfax? Do you know that place? It's over right by the Improv.
Yeah.
Do you know what an Okie Dog is?
No.
It is a burrito filled with chili, pastrami, and hot dogs, and mustard and cheese.
Okay.
All wrapped in a tortilla.
Okay.
This weekend, this is true, Okie Dog was Donald Trump's volunteer headquarters.
No.
It was on Saturday. I'm on the Trump mailing list from when I went to the Trump rally. And so they're like, come knock on doors for Mr. Trump. Meet at Okie Dog. He's a chili cheese fry candidate. But you gotta respect him. You respect him.
Dude. Without that decision.
So yeah, maybe think about voting in the actual election.
No.
Okay.
No. My vote means nothing.
Oh, that's true. We'll have to agree to disagree.
I was always taught that electoral college supersedes everything. And what is there a popular vote for if we're being force-fed candidates? It's this isn't like trading cards that you collect and you decide which one's the best. I mean,
you don't decide which trading card is the best.
No, you don't.
They tell you which one is the best.
Well, they fucking still achieve that. That's a clearer goal than who's the best candidate for America.
Well, we're bottom line, we're in trouble. But let's forget about the future for a little bit.
Okay.
Talk about the past.
All right.
One of the last times we were hanging out, I was kind of grilling you on this because I was fascinated by it. In Louisiana, where you're from, they have in other parts of the country they'll have a drive-through McDonald's, drive-through car wash. In Louisiana, they have drive-through daiquiris.
Well, we have drive-through McDonald's and drive-through car washes and drive-through daiquiris too. Yes.
And these are alcoholic drinks.
Yes.
That you can get through a drive-through.
Yeah. It's part of our culture, I guess, or heritage or something. I don't know. For some reason, Louisiana's very stern about making sure that we're allowed to straddle the line between what is legal and what is not legal as far as drinking and driving. You can go to a photo hut style establishment and pull up and order a bunch of stuff that has things like 151 and regular vodka and rum, triple sec, why not, a whole bunch of variations of Kool-Aid concentrates, and then say White Lightning or Blue Diesel or Everclear, some kind of grain alcohol all mixed together in a sorbet machine. So every time you go to Pinkberry, there's probably just as many drive-through daiquiris shops, or the popularity is just as high as a Pinkberry out here. And it's basically the same technology, except we add booze.
Were there, was this all like somebody would go to Smart and Final and then just get, like, were there like specific recipes?
Yes.
Or was this, okay,
there was a wall of flavors that we had them pick from, and then we had like a breakdown of each one, and then there was a few like orders that we didn't have, and I just improv'd it, like a sweet tart daiquiri or a sangria daiquiri. You know, it was just like mixing certain things I knew had to do with that, adding a couple other things, and then body ba, $3.25. See you in about 30 minutes when you're just a little bit, you know, more sloshed.
$3.25?
Yeah, for like a 16 ounce.
That's about the same price as a soda.
Yeah, sure.
But there's alcohol in this.
Yeah.
And you get it.
And it's like a dessert too, because it's like frozen slushy.
Yeah, you know, taste the alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
So this, you see how this could sound kind of like a crazy proposition.
Well, yeah.
To give a 16-ounce cup of alcohol.
Right.
But here they're popular in Louisiana.
Yeah.
Did anybody, were church groups ever coming to the drive-thru daiquiri place and being like, this is a blight on our town?
We've only, as far as when I was working there, which was quite a while, the only instance we had of any kind of conflict was when this one like city, you know, representative or whatever, city council representative came through and was pissed off because he said that the 2 gallons of daiquiri that he bought for $22.50 each didn't have alcohol in them, and he bought 2, drank 1, came back, said he wanted his money back because it wasn't strong enough or it didn't have alcohol. And I was like, well, officers, because he called the cops on us, and he, like, I think he did it so he could come inside and see what was going on. And of course we were smoking weed and doing all kinds of stuff at the time, so like I wasn't really like afraid of cops at all. And the cops came in, and the guy came in, and I like settled my coworkers down, and I handled them by saying, well, you know, officers, don't you have something to like test the alcohol in these gallons? And they're like, actually, no. I was like, well, you do have a breathalyzer. And then suddenly this little city council guy just shrank down like a fucking, you know, flaccid penis and scurried on his way, because he realized that, like, hey, you know, these guys did give me alcohol and I am feeling nervous right now, and hey, I got it in my system and he just outsmarted me and I need to get the fuck out of here. And the cops are like, well, thanks for wasting our time and this guy's time, have a good night. And I'm like, okay guys, let's light back up. I'll cut up a line, whatever, next in line. And yeah, so that was one.
So the only issue was that there was not enough alcohol.
Yeah,
at the drive-thru.
Yeah, practically that. And there was a time where the cops showed up because our establishment was right on the freeway, on the north and south. It was right in between the north and south median of the freeway. So we had business coming from the north and the south, and then they would go in like the same pattern as a hurricane, which ironically is what we sold as a daiquiri flavor. Was the Pat O'Brien's Hurricane. And like we had so much business lining up from both windows that it blocked the traffic on the freeway. And we actually had like cops show up and say, hey, look, man, if you guys don't get these fucking people out of the way, we're giving you a ticket. I'm like, no problem, officer. Have a good day, blah, blah, blah. Hey, you in the 86 Dodge Caravan, if you don't get the fuck out of the freeway, you ain't getting shit. And if I see you in 5 minutes in the fucking line and you weren't out of the way, I'm still not giving you shit. And I would just have to deal with people over and over. And, you know, that's why I did a lot of drugs at the time.
Yeah, how much repeat business? You'd see the same people over the course of the night?
Yeah. Strippers, drug dealers, regulars. There was one guy, he was like really Cajun, and he had a ram in the back of his truck. I don't know if it would have been really funny if he was driving a Dodge at the time too, but he had like a ram in a cage in the back of his truck. And he was like, hey, look what the fuck I got. and it was just like stomping and pissed off and like hitting its fucking head against the cage, and just intense as hell. And he always ordered a couple shots of Jaeger and then like a Jungle Buster, which was a combination of one of our flavors, Jungle Juice, mixed with Ghostbuster, which was like two of our strongest drinks. They combined into one to make a Voltron daiquiri that just like made him completely blitz. And then he'd come back around in like an hour for another one. But he would just take 2 like Jaeger shots
in the car.
Right, in the driveway, in the drive-thru. Yeah. And we probably charged like $2 for a shot of Jaeger.
Wow.
Yeah. And if you wanted them, or any of this stuff, if they wanted it to go, mm-hmm. we just tape it in a little cup and with a lid and give it to them.
Because you're not, there's open container laws, obviously.
Right, there's open bottle laws. Okay. You can walk around with a beer or like a glass of beer, but you can't walk around with, or a cup of beer rather, but you can't walk around with like a glass bottle of liquor or a glass bottle of beer. So like during parades, we sell aluminum bottles, so that way you can still use the same koozie that you're used to. And hey, look, there's Mario Lopez and Ali Landry. Hey, look, there's Eric Estrada on that fucking float. Oh, wow. Like, I saw Eric Estrada recently. That was great. It was a nice little nostalgia. But
Ali Landry?
Yeah, she
from
was
the Doritos commercial.
Yeah, she was Miss America or whatever. But she's from Louisiana.
Oh, okay.
Landry is a very like, it's synonymous with Louisiana.
Huh. Louisiana seems like kind of a mixed up place.
It totally is. Yeah.
I heard about today, actually, in Louisiana, some animal rights activists are upset because there's a truck stop that has a tiger at it. Did you ever go to this truck stop?
Of course.
Oh, you know about the tiger?
Yeah, of course. I've seen him. It's Mike. It's Mike the Tiger, isn't it? It's like
they called him Tony the Tiger.
It might have been Tony. They replaced it. It was like a tiger fucking truck stop.
Oh, yeah, a tiger truck stop.
Like...
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, like Exxon used to be synonymous with the tiger.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and we also had LSU tigers. Okay, but it's not like it's a real zoo. It's like just like a circus cage that he's in, you know. And I can't. It's so funny that you know this. I haven't thought about this in years. Last time I went to that truck stop, I went into the bathroom and it was just. Fuck, I wish I remembered some of the graffiti that was on the walls. But yeah, it was just dirty, disgusting, creepy ass shit. And I can't imagine going there at nighttime, what that could be like. But yeah, sort of in the middle of nowhere. I think it was around Baton Rouge, somewhere around there. I think last time was when I was commuting to go party from Baton Rouge to New Orleans, drunk as shit. Baton Rouge is like an hour away from New Orleans. I was partying out there. I decided, let me go jump in a car and go to like all-you-can-eat breakfast buffet at Shoney's or something in New Orleans, and then go party some more because you can just drink until the sun comes up, and yeah, there's not much else to do. It's not much else to do.
It seems like you have really fond memories of the tiger.
I have fond memories of just getting wasted in Louisiana because, I mean, that's really only time I can remember, I guess, is if I'm drunk. Yeah.
The only time you can remember?
No, I'm just.
Got it. Well, you're joking around because you're a comedian.
Yeah, I guess.
Let's talk about that. So you kind of short notice. You agreed to do the show. Thank you.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
But so we had another comedian booked. Mm-hmm. He had to drop out, and before him, we had another guy a message who didn't even respond. So I'm not going to name any names. I'm still hoping to get both of these guys on the show. But it reminded me of a story, and I might have told this on the show before. But have you ever seen the show Comics Unleashed?
Yeah, of course, with Byron Allen.
Okay, so you know how that show works?
Basically, they submit stuff to the show, and then they go one by one. Like, why don't you tell me about how that time that you rake leaves?
That's the format of the show. I guess I should say, do you know why the show exists?
Well, I know some of his history, but I don't know what you're getting to. So
basically, what Byron Allen does is he buys up airtime in the middle of the night all over the country. It's one station at a time. Mm-hmm. He's not on CBS or NBC or whatever. So he gets 4 hours at a time, and then he makes shows himself
Yeah.
to put on so that he can sell advertising for like the ShamWow or mesothelioma or like whatever.
Brilliant.
So it really is a brilliant scam. But the show just exists because he needs 44 minutes an hour to not show commercials.
Right.
So nobody wants new episodes of Comics Unleashed. Nobody is greenlighting it. No, there's the only reason for it to exist.
He's in control of it completely.
Yes, it's all him.
It's like the O Network or Own Network or whatever.
But it's like this fringe thing that's on in the middle of the night. And so the flagship show...
So are you telling me who created TV Guide Network? Or TV Guide Byron Allen interviews? Was that just him to sell more ad time? I mean...
He does court shows too. He's got an empire.
Okay.
So to produce these shows, since nobody is a fan of Comics Unleashed, and the show is, like you said, he just sets up comedians to do their jokes, but it's really awkward because like they don't know if they're supposed to play to the crowd or to him or the camera or whatever. So these shows, since nobody cares one way or another about them, the audience that you see on that show is paid to be there.
Of course.
You get paid minimum wage. Yeah. To sit there and...
I've done that.
Yeah, okay. So
not for that show, but for others.
All right, so you know how it works. So one time I was at a taping of Comics Unleashed.
Oh, nice.
It's miserable. Like, he's just like, all right, you applaud now. You applaud. You clap. Yeah. He's just directing thing. He's sitting down. So he's got this comedian on. And it's mostly, sometimes it'll be like George Wallace or like somebody like...
Oh, I saw Judy Tenuta.
Yeah.
If I wouldn't have seen her on the show, I wouldn't have recognized her when she showed up at the Improv. And then I got a great picture with her and she like kind of hit on me. It was great.
Yeah, but then it's also just like club comedians you've never heard of.
Well, so, I've heard quite a few, but I know exactly who you're talking about.
The general public would not.
Yeah.
So he's got this guy on and he like sets him up for, he's like, all right, we'll start over, sets him up for the joke. And the guy messes up. And Byron Allen's like, that's okay, just try it again. And the comedian, because he's used to like playing to an audience, he's just like, sorry, I'm not used to being fake. And the audience is like, ooh. And then Byron Allen goes to him without missing a beat. He goes, hey man, I'm trying to help you out, get you out of the club so you don't rot to death. And he crunched up the R's like that to say rot. And then the crowd was like, oh, like you got a bit. And then that was the only like genuine applause. And that wasn't even on the show. So
maybe the audio was just the applause.
Yeah, exactly. They pulled that. So I don't know. On knowing that story and having your background comedy and working at a reputable comedy club, who do you side with on this? The comedian going for a laugh, trying to be original, or Byron Allen with that sharp, like roast style joke? Just
okay. First of all, as a comedian, if Byron Allen, it didn't matter who it was, Byron Allen said that, and I was in the right frame of mind, I would be like, why are you giving me this fucking petty Annie fucking kindergarten bullshit? Like, okay, yeah, you got that quick one, but it was still a fucking dull one, all right? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, he's not a comedian, he's an interviewer, so he's just trying to catch the energy. He doesn't understand about, like, creating, like, the misdirect and the actual trickery of comedy. So, like, the comedian should be very, like, oh, fuck off, about it. And Byron Allen, like, going in deeper is kind of like, okay, I know I'm not a good enough writer, but I'm going to make you feel even worse just to show you that I have power because I'm so insecure about the fact that I can't write. So, yeah, that's how I feel about it. Like, if I were in that moment, I would be like, fuck you, Byron Allen. But if I were Byron Allen, I'd be like, damn, I should have had something prepared.
So you think Byron Allen was being mean?
I think he was being petty because he didn't have what he needed. But that's okay, because he's still paying these people. And he gives them coffee mugs, apparently, that say, the show and everything, because I have a friend who's been on the show. Actually, a few friends that have been on the show.
So is it hard to get on Comics Unleashed?
I haven't even tried, to be honest with you. There's a lot of things I haven't tried, America. But that's because I don't want to half-ass things. I want to make sure I go in, full force, because I want to be timeless and universal. I don't want to be like, hey, he was on Byron Allen once. Hey, that was that guy who was on BET back in like '93 that like we never saw ever again after. Yeah. Anyway.
So what are some of the other things then that you haven't done that you're waiting to strike on, like a tiger at a Louisiana truck stop?
I would say the lock of my cage. No, I do intend to work, or at least work in some capacity with Jim Henson. That'd be one of my goals, but for later on.
How come? Why Jim Henson?
Because just like this right here was very much inspired by his creativity and his networking and know-how and community, and that's just like a small little drop in the bucket that he's created. But I take pride in what he's done, but also like what it could be and where it can go, and where it is right now I don't necessarily think is a good thing. So I don't really want to jump in right now. I want to wait for it.
You got to be, success is being prepared for opportunity.
Sure.
I think it is.
Okay. Well, I just don't want to. I don't want to half-ass that either. I have other things that I have to take care of right now.
It's like what?
Paying my bills.
Yeah.
Making sure that I'm not pissing off my employers.
Yeah.
Writing a real, believable and funny comedy that I like stand by, and can easily sell because I'm passionate about. Those are things that I'm really trying to work on right now. Other than that, some music. I have 2 songs that I just need to create vocals for, and I have another one that I need to redo the guitar parts for. I got things, but I mean, I still have to live a normal person's life too.
Strike a balance.
Yeah.
Has working at the Improv given you a different perspective on comedy, seeing the behind the scenes of it?
Yeah. I mean, I already knew the club life, but it really, because of what club it is, it really gave me a perspective of the life of the comedian, beyond just the life of the club owner or the club promoter or whoever's doing that shit. The actual performer, where are they coming from? How do they get there? Why are they coming back? How long have they stuck around or been able to handle it? Because there's people who are YouTube stars. There's people who are old stars and are just trying to make a comeback. There's people who never made it and are just now getting popular. There's people who've just been consistently average. There's so many, and I've met so many, and none of them are bad. They wouldn't be there if they were bad. So I do respect them, but I've learned a lot.
Of those different groups of people who come and go from a comedy club, which kind do you identify with more? Do you have the most respect for?
Those who are original, and those who are successful, but also those who are humble, because there are people who they bust their asses, but it's really what decisions did you make along the way, and was it the best decision? And sometimes it's a decision based off your integrity, sometimes it's based off of fuel economy. You know what I mean? You don't know necessarily. Sometimes you just got to get things done. But I don't know, where I'm gonna stand in the future, but it's good to see where other people, where they have and what they have done to decide what I'm gonna do in the future.
What's to do with Maz Jobrani?
What do you mean?
He's on the marquee of every club in town.
Okay.
At towards the bottom of it.
Okay.
Does he just? I mean, I'm sure he's been to the Improv. He's at the Comedy Store. He's at every time I drive by any comedy club. It says Maz Jobrani.
Maz Jobrani, yeah. He's on, like, if you won't go to the Improv in the main room, he's so popular that he's, like, on the, you know, like, if you go to the movies, they say they have this whole, like, pre-movie where you go down the roller coaster, whatever that guy recently died, but, like, you know, be quiet, don't smoke, keep your music off, whatever. This guy's, like, before a comedy show, he does the little warm-up, like, on the projector, and they have other comics who do it, too, and he's, like, basically saying, you know, be quiet or shut up or whatever. And he's comes in all the time, but I would say it's like a month-to-month thing because of his popularity. He does like one big show and then he's on with it. But I think it has to do with the demographic. You know, he's got a really popular demographic in this town, and that's helpful for his success. So I mean, why not book every club if you can?
So he's one of these examples of a comedian who's working a lot, but maybe not a household name. You or I will have heard of him.
Well, it depends on whose household.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Because, like, who's Jeff Bridges? You know, who's Jeff Daniels? Who's, I don't know, name another Jeff.
Jeff Tweedy.
I don't even know who that is.
He's in the band Wilco.
See?
Well, see, there you go. What's the comedy club audience like?
It depends on the comedian, but like a really busy night with young people, it's gonna be slightly more numbskully than a really busy night with middle class family types. You know, if you go to like something more Aladdin or something more like, because they have a show like Refried Fridays, which is really cool. I've seen like all kinds of different performers, but they have their own demographic and their own email list, and it's just like any other business. You know, like if you sell, like you say, ShamWows, you got to hit a certain demographic. It's going to be people who need to clean things, you know, as opposed to like, I don't know, someone who always gets someone else to clean their stuff. They might not want to buy a ShamWow.
Got it.
So whatever.
So
it just depends, man. Like, what is the audience like? If as a door guy, when I was doing more door work, you have to go up to him and say, "Hey, you know what? You can't be on your phone. Hey, you know what? I saw you take 4 pictures. I need you to delete them in front of me, or else my manager is gonna give me the old heave-ho." And they're like, "Fine." Blah 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 blah. You know, they give you a hard time, but a lot of times it's pretty easy. It's just like, "Hey, sorry, you can't do this. Hey, here's your food, blah, blah, blah. Oh, by the way, you know, the restrooms are this way." I mean, it's fucking easy shit. If somebody's heckling and be like, "Hey, buddy, you guys okay? Can I get you guys some water or something?" You know, chill the fuck out. But, like, as I've been working there, it's been a lot more easy for me to know exactly how far I can push. Because I've straight up called people idiots. Or not idiots per se, but, like, look at all these, you know, crazy nuts or something like that. You know, just give it some like pet name, and suddenly they can be abused as much as you want them to. Most people, whenever they step into a scenario or environment where someone who's supposed to be really high status is around, they become like the smallest individuals possible. So you can kind of do what you want, and the only people who are going to stand up to you or like kind of combat that are still going to want to come in. So you have that over their head. You're just in control. So it's not like a control freak sort of security guard. I'm not really a cop, or I am a cop. I need to be an asshole kind of thing. But it is like these guys know how far they can go, and we can kind of fuck with them because we're usually mentally on top.
It must be kind of cool, because you know, you're a performer, you have control of the audience. You know, you work with the audience. It's like a kind of like a date almost between the community and the audience. You're kind of, as a security guard, as the door guy, going in on the ground floor to see what makes an audience tick, even though you're not making them laugh.
No, I am.
You know, but you know little things about them. You're like a spy. And then now you know more about the sensibilities.
that brings another aspect of being the door guy. When you're outside and you're taking people in, you have to like check an ID or give them a wristband. I'm not gonna just be like Mr. Robot the whole time. This is 600 fucking people that I have a chance to make an impression on. And I'm doing it one by one, and I'm trying to be as originally funny with each one, give them each a moment every time. And as I go, I develop certain catchphrases or whatever. And then other door guys. Huh?
Do you have a door catchphrase?
I can't think of one offhand.
Okay.
It's just like, flip your wrist and freaking la-di-da. It's not a catchphrase, I'm just saying.
I like that, though. Hey, flip your wrist and la-di-da. Take it from me, Scott Kidd.
Yeah. I don't know. Do we have time? I don't know what we're doing.
Yeah, we got a few more minutes.
But yeah, so like, you deal with, like I said, 600 people, you're going to eventually create more of your own personality, or you're going to fold under pressure, which is just sad. Or you're going to copy someone else. Because one of the oldest door guys there does impressions of like Brody Stevens or some other comic, because he has no, particular catchphrase for himself. I'm not going to I could really sell him up the river or whatever, but that's just not nice or necessary. But yeah, it can be hectic, it can be lucrative, it can be all kinds of things. I have a girlfriend, but before I had a girlfriend, I met girls being a door guy, and it has its perks. There's times where I can't stand my job, but I know that a lot of other comedians, especially open micers, would love to kill me for this job, if they could, if that's what it took to get it.
Did you have to kill somebody to get in there?
Not exactly. I just had to kill at my previous job, and that's how I got this job.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You had to kill somebody to get into another
I had to kill
serving
somebody.
type job, and then that was your experience.
Well, no, I worked for, yes, you're right. Yes, I was serving, I was bartending, I was
You had to kill somebody to get the other job to give you the experience.
Right, but it was more so like there's a manager that worked for this place who also worked for that place. And he used to work for that place, and I got to, la-di-da.
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 Seriously, consider that the catchphrase.
I will. I'll consider it.
Yeah, you got run up. Got a few minutes left. Had 2 questions. Which one did I want to ask you? Okay, this one's a little bit more insightful. So in music, and you mentioned that you do music,
Yeah.
a friend of mine, Tony Molina, has he classifies bands. He plays like punk and metal and the rock scene or whatever, but like bands that are like kind of like slushy kind of metal, and like long hair guys, kind of bigger guys.
When you say slushy, you mean like thrash?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
But like kind of like sloppy a little bit. He calls it doorcore, which is music
I'm listening.
that door guys would be into.
Oh.
Is there a doorcore of comedy?
Oh, that's a great question. But I don't think I'd like doorcore metal. But I am a metalhead, so it's maybe.
So you're not doorcore on metal, but there might be.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to. Is that a real genre? I'm gonna have to look that up.
Anything's possible on the internet.
Maybe
but you know what I'm talking about.
Maybe you can send me a link later. But
I'll send you some doorcore.
But okay, so like doorcore
of comedy.
Comedy. Yeah, for sure. There's a guy named GT that I'm a big fan of, but like, he's such a jackass. I think he's actually done stuff here, but yeah, like, he's one of those guys where it's like a phenomenal thing when he really does succeed. It's brilliant, but other times it's just horrendous. So it's gambling, which adds to the thrill. But there's people who are just like so insanely bad that it's fun to watch, and then there's some people who are just like so daring that it's like wow. But I typically like guys who are just kind of different in general, not just their comedy, but in general. And I typically root for them, because there's people who they just not even steal, but mimic each other. I really don't care for that at all. I mean, did you want specific people or specific?
No, I just wanted to see if that phenomenon.
Yeah, it totally does.
Cross doors
because
of all kinds.
Like, just in the same respect, like you're bored, you know. And I see a lot of graduation classes, like people who teach comedy. That's a thing. Teach comedy, have graduation classes at like big clubs, and I have to sit through that sometimes. And luckily, a server doesn't have to sit in a room with a graduation class. They can, like, you know, escape from time to time. But it's basically like elocution or some like elementary school freaking PTA meeting, fucking production of Shel Silverstein, and, like, you know, with some add-ins from their parents about how they love to take long walks on beaches and ice cream and blah 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 blah, sunset bullshit. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to be in the room. It's bad. Learn the trickery and the art form. If you're really a comedian, don't listen to some guy who's going to charge you $700. Okay, that's not learning. And don't get me wrong. You take improv classes at a real place, and it's not just like some oversaturated school that they put next to a supermarket. You know, you probably learn something. But in this case, your parents are forcing you into that. You know it. Anyway.
Speaking the truth, you know,
yeah.
that's the real essence of art or comedy or anything like that.
I feel really bad about that.
No, you're letting it go. Scott, flip your wrist and la-di-da. Thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you all for watching. Thank you, Internet Discount Mall, our sponsor. And until next time, this is Adam Papagan reminding you that there's a place you can go, and it's your mind. Good night.
Yeah.